Hello students, today we are going to do the poem Somebody's Mother, written by Mary Dow Bryn. Mary Dow Bryn, a poet, author, lyricist. Lyricist means a person who writes the words to a popular song. Okay, so a poet, author, lyricist and a New Yorker. Many of her poems and children books are published by international publishers. She has provided lyrics for the famous piano piece Hearts and Flowers. So this poem, Somebody's Mother by Mary Dow Bryn, is an emotional and inspirational poem. In this poem, the writer focuses on the help, care and the love shown by a young boy to an old poor lady. Okay, and the lady was so old and weak that she couldn't walk properly, and the boy helped her in crossing the road and showed her the direction. After helping the poor lady, when the boy returned back to her friends, the friends asked him, why did he do this? So he says that a day may arise if he might be away from his mother and somebody would help his mother in the same way what he did. On returning home, the old lady prayed to God to be kind to that boy and blessed him. So this poem highlights the importance of compassion and how each stranger is important in someone's life, and how we should help others so that even our loved ones are helped by others. So now I'll read the poem, children. Listen. The woman was old and ragged and grey and bent with the chill of the winter's day. The street was wet with the recent snow and the woman's feet were aged and slow. She stood at the crossing and waited long, alone, uncared for, amid the throng of human beings who passed her by, nor heeded the glance of her anxious eye. Down the street with the laughter and about, glad in the freedom of school let out, came the boys like a flock of sheep, hailing the snow piled white and deep. Past the woman so old and grey, hastened the children on their way, not offered a helping hand to her, so meek, so timid, afraid to stir, lest the carriage wherein or the horse's feet should crowd her down in the slippery street. At last came one of the merry troop, the gayest laddie of all the group. He paused beside her and whispered low, I'll help you cross if you want to go. Her aged hand on his strong young arm she placed, and so, without hurt or harm, he guided the trembling feet along. Proud that his own were firm and strong, then back again to his friends he went, his young heart happy and well content. She is somebody's mother, boys, you know, for all she is aged and poor and slow. And I hope some fellow will lend a hand to help my mother, you understand, if ever she is poor and grey when our own dear boy is far away. So this is the poem. So now let us see each paragraph. I'll read the first paragraph and explain to you. So the first paragraph, the woman was old and ragged and grey. So this paragraph tells us about the condition of the old woman. Okay, so it says that woman was old, ragged. Ragged means clothes badly torn. Okay, so how was the woman? Woman was old and she had worn the torn clothes, and grey. Grey refers to her hair. Okay, grey hair, and bent with the chill of the winter's day. Bent with the chill. Maybe she couldn't stand properly. Okay, as one of the factor, maybe she's old, or otherwise she was it was cold, so she was bent with the chillness. Okay, it was winter and the street was wet with the recent snow. Okay, it was winter and the snow had just fallen. Okay, and the woman's feet were aged and slow. Women's feet were aged and slow. So it refers to that she had become very weak and she is unable to walk properly due to old age or maybe due to the winter. And I want you people to refer this statement. Women feet were slow. So here feet itself is not slow. It means it refers to the whole woman. Okay, not only the woman feet, but it refers to the whole woman. She herself has become slow. So this word feet, a part of your body, it is referring to the whole woman. So whenever we have like this part, when it refers to the whole body, here it is called as a scenic decay. Okay, so whenever we refer a part of a something, when we refer a part of something to the whole, okay, we call it as a scenic decay. Okay, so here woman feet, part is referred to the whole woman. So like this, when a part is referred to the whole thing, it is called as a figure of speech scenic decay. Second stanza, she stood at the crossing. So where is she standing? She's standing for crossing the road. Okay, waited long alone. She is waiting for a long time to cross the road and she is alone, uncared. Nobody paid attention to her. She is standing in midst of the throng. Throng means a crowd. Okay, she is standing alone. Okay, and waiting for a long time in midst of the group of the people who passed her by, but nobody heeded. Heeded means paid attention to her anxious eye. That means nobody paid attention towards her. Okay, so now you observe this word, crowded crossing. So you could see this word, letters CC, alphabet CC is repeated. So whenever you have a syllable means a part of your speech, okay, or an alphabet sounding the same, that figure of speech is an alliteration. Crowded, crossing, so here the syllable, that is part of a speech or alphabet is repeated. So whenever you have a sound of same, or when you have an alphabet sounding the same, that figure of speech is known as a alliteration. Okay, example you could see, she sells seashells by the seashore. Okay, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. So like this, you have a repetition of the sound. Okay, so repetition of the sound or repetition of the alphabet. Okay, so that is called as a alliteration. Okay, and one more example you can see here, children, like a glance of her anxious eye. So now here eye, we are not talking about her eye was not anxious, the woman was anxious. So whenever we have the adjective, that means adjective is here anxious. So whenever we have the adjective being transferred into something else, okay, so that is called as epithet. That means transferred epithet. Third stanza, down the street with the laughter and shout, glad in the freedom of school let out, came the boys like a flock of sheep, hailing the snow piled white and deep. So here, this line, it says that when the school boys rushed out, they were very happy because of the freedom they got after the school, and they were very happy to go back their home. So all the boys came out like a flock of sheep. A flock of sheep, you mean that it's a collective noun. You all know what is collective noun. A group of particular thing. Okay, so here the boys are compared to the flock of sheep. Hailing the snow piled white and deep. Hailing means welcoming. So they were also very happy to see the snow piled out. That means piled upon the street. Okay, so here the students are very happy because they are out of the school. The school has left them and they are free, and they got after the school and they were allowed to go back home. So and they were also happy to see the snow piled out upon the street. So now observe the statement, children. Came the boys like a flock of sheep. So boys are compared to a flock of sheep using the word like. Okay, so and it is known as a figure of speech called a simile. So what is simile? Simile is a figure of speech that directly compares two things using words such as like or as. So example like he fought like a lion. So comparison is made between the two different things. Okay, and the words like and as, these two will help us to identify that it is a simile. So here the boys are compared to the flock of sheep. Flock of sheep, group of sheep. Okay, so it is also known as a collective noun. What is collective noun? Collection of one particular thing. Okay, so here you next paragraph. Past the woman so old and grey, hastened the children on their way. So they were all so happy, all engrossed in their welcoming the snowfall, that they all forgot on the way what is there, and they just passed the old woman and they did not pay attention to her. Hasten the children on their way. Hasten means move with the speed. Okay, they just went on their way quickly. Okay, next line. Nor offered a helping hand to her. Okay, so meek, so timid, after to stare, lest the carriage wheels on her horse's feet should crowd her down in the slippery street. Okay, so none of the boys gave a helping hand to her. Okay, that means the boys did not stop and offer the woman any help. Okay, she was so scared and she was so timid and she was so weak that she afraid that she may fall on the slippery road. Okay, and the street was so slippery and the old woman was so afraid of crossing that she was old and she could not walk fast also, and she was also afraid of the carriage wheels and the horse's feet, and she felt that if she tries to cross the road anytime she may fall, and she was afraid and she stood there firm. Okay, expecting someone to come and help her. So the last line you observe, children, the word meek, timid, afraid. So all these words give the same meaning. So when we have like this, two or more words in the same thing, then we call that in the figure of speech called as a tautology. Okay, so meek, timid, afraid, all the three of them give the same meaning. So when you have the similar word of same meaning in the line, then it is called in the figure of speech as a tautology. So now let us see the next line. At last came one of the merry troop, the gayest laddie of all the group. He paused beside her and whispered low, I'll help you cross if you wish to go. So at last, finally, somebody came to her. That means to help her. Okay, finally, after waiting for a long time, one of the happy, that means gayest laddie, that means one of the member in that happy group, one of the happiest of them came beside her and whispered low in her ear, I'll help you. That means if you want to cross, I'll help you. I think you all understood. So at last, finally, one of the boy in that happy group, he comes there and he stood beside her and whispered in a low voice that if you want to cross, I will help you. Okay. Next line. Her aged hand on his strong young arm she placed, and so without hurt her arm he passed the trembling feet along, proud that his own were firm and strong. So here this boy, after he had asked her that he will help her to cross the road, what did he do? He put her old hand on his strong young arm, okay, and without any problem, he guided her. That means he guided the trembling feet, okay. That is trembling feet. Again, you have to remember, your children, the feet, trembling feet. Feet is a part referred to the whole. Who is trembling feet here? The old lady, okay. So this is Scenic Decay, okay. So here he guided this trembling feet, took her, crossed the street, and he was so happy that he could do it without any problem. That means he helped her to cross the road, okay. Afterwards he will go and join to her to his friend, and is so happy that is satisfied that he has done some good job by helping the old lady to cross the road. Next paragraph. She is somebody's mother, boys, you know. For all she is aged and poor and slow, and I hope some fellow will lend a hand to help my mother. You understand? If ever she's poor and grey, when her own dear boy is far away. So here, the boy who had helped the old woman to cross the road, he will come back to his friend and he says that, you know, boys, she is somebody's mother, and she's old, poor, and she is slow also. And I helped her because sometimes in future, when my mother is old and poor and grey, and I am not there with her to help her, somebody will lend her hand. Okay. So next paragraph. And somebody's mother bowed low her head in her home that night, and she prayed and she said, God, be kind to the noble boy who is somebody's son, pride and joy. Okay, so that night somebody's mother, that is in her house, she bowed her head and she prayed to the God. That means she prayed that night to the God. So what did she pray to the God? She said, God, be kind to that boy. Okay, that boy here refers to the boy who helped her to cross the road, and she says that help that boy because he is kind, who is good, and has a fine quality of caring, loving, and moreover she says that he is somebody's pride and joy. Okay, this is the poem, children. I think you all understood.